Your life as a stolen crown jewel, every shadow you passed through before the heist. A 10-minute YouTube voiceover script, POV storytelling series. Hook, opening 30 seconds. You have no heartbeat, no breath, no name the world will ever agree on. But you have weight, a cold, impossible weight that makes grown men tremble, empires crack at their foundations. You are not alive, and yet you have outlasted every single person who has ever touched you. You are a crown jewel, and today you will remember every shadow, every vault, every pair of trembling hands that carried you from the moment you were ripped from the earth to the night everything changed. This is not a heist story. This is your story, and it begins long before the glass was broken. Level 1. The dark womb, birth in the earth's deepest silence. You don't begin in a palace. You begin in darkness so absolute that light has never once touched your skin. You are deep underground, somewhere in the ancient hills of what will one day be called South Africa, though that name doesn't exist yet. You are carbon, pressure, time. For 3 billion years, the earth above you shifts, bleeds, and buries its dead. You feel none of it. You simply compress. The air above you smells of iron-rich soil, of roots splitting stone, of rain that never reaches you. The pressure around you is unimaginable, over 1,000,000 pounds per square inch. And it is this violence, this geological brutality, that makes you perfect. When they finally find you, a miner's pickaxe shatters the kimberlite around you and drags you, blinking and raw, into a world that has been waiting for you without knowing it. The miner's hands are calloused, bleeding at the knuckles. He looks at you for exactly 3 seconds before dropping you into a leather pouch. He will never know what you become. That is perhaps the only mercy in your entire story. Level 2. The cutting room. Where innocence is shaped into desire, you arrive in Antwerp. The year is 1653. The city smells of canal water and tallow candles, of pipe tobacco, and the faint metallic breath of the grinding wheels that will soon define your entire existence. The lapidary, a Dutch master cutter named Vermeer, no relation to the painter, holds you under a magnifying lens for 40 minutes before he speaks. His verdict is delivered in silence, a single nod. Over the next 3 months, he grinds away 45% of your original mass. Each cut is irreversible. Each facet is a permanent decision, a judgment etched in crystalline geometry. He works by candlelight, never sleeping more than 4 hours, convinced that you are the finest stone he will ever touch in his lifetime. He is right. When he finishes, you catch the flame of a single candle and throw it across the ceiling in a constellation of fractured light. Vermeer weeps, just once, briefly, then wraps you in black velvet and seals you in a box made of applewood. You don't understand what beauty is, but you have just become the world's definition of it. Level 3. The Court of the Sun King Power Without Mercy. You are smuggled into Versailles inside a diplomat's boot heel. The year is 1668. The hallways smell of orange blossom, candle wax, and the sour sweat of thousands of courtiers who have not bathed in weeks beneath their silk and powder. Louis XIV receives you in the Hall of Mirrors. He holds you up to the chandeliers, 2,000 candles, and for a moment, the entire room goes silent. Not from awe, from fear. Because the Sun King has just decided something, and when Louis XIV decides something, people die. You are set into a brooch and pinned to the royal chest on the day the king signs the Treaty of Aix-la-Chapelle. Diplomats from 6 nations watch you glitter as a war is officially ended. though everyone in the room knows another has already been scheduled. At Versailles, you learn the language of power. It smells like rosewater and ambition. It sounds like harpsichords playing over the sound of distant weeping. Power does not announce itself. It simply glitters, cold and absolute, on the chest of a man who owns the sun. The revolutionary's fist. When thrones crack, August 1792. The mob smells of blood, gunpowder, and the particular desperation of people who have been hungry for too long. They storm the Tuileries Palace. You are locked in the royal treasury along with the other crown jewels. The Regent Diamond, the Sancy, a collection of rubies the size of pigeon eggs. The screaming outside rises and falls like a tide. Then the door splinters. The man who takes you is not a criminal. He is a school teacher from Lyon named Dupont, who has not eaten in 2 days and who joined the revolution because his daughter died of a fever that medicine could have cured if medicine had been affordable. He takes you because you are there. Because 3 billion years of geological pressure fit in his pocket and might buy his surviving son a future. He is arrested 4 days later. He does not give your location. He is executed 6 weeks after that. He goes to the guillotine with your location still locked behind his teeth, a secret heavier than you, carried to his grave. You stay hidden in a floorboard in the 3rd arrondissement for 11 years, in the dark again, where you began. The Emperor's obsession, glory built on borrowed light. Napoleon finds you in 1804 through a chain of informants and bribes that cost more than 3 lives. He holds you in his bare hand, in private, for a long time. His aides wait outside the door, pretending not to hear his silence. Napoleon is not a sentimental man, but he understands symbols the way a general understands terrain, instinctively, completely. He has you set into the imperial sword, positioned on the pommel so that when he draws the blade, you catch the light first. You are present at Austerlitz, at Wagram, at the coronation, where Napoleon crowns himself, takes the crown from the Pope's hands and places it on his own head, and you glitter at his side like a period at the end of a sentence that says, "I answer to no one." You feel the vibration of cannon fire through the hands of every soldier who carries the sword. You smell the gunpowder at Waterloo, that final catastrophic afternoon when the rain turns the fields to mud and the French Guard breaks for the first time in 20 years. Napoleon loses everything that day. But you are already gone, removed from the sword the night before the battle by a loyalist who saw what was coming. Loyalty, you are learning, always outlives glory. The merchant's secret beauty, traded in the dark. You spend 30 years moving through private collections. Your journey is not dramatic in these decades. It is methodical, transactional, clinical. You pass through the hands of a Belgian arms dealer, a Viennese banker, an Ottoman pasha, and a Russian countess who keeps you in a velvet box beneath her bed because she is afraid of what you do to the people who display you openly. She is not wrong. The arms dealer who owned you before her was found floating in the Scheldt River. The banker before him died of a sudden, convenient heart attack 2 days before a parliamentary investigation. The pasha was deposed. None of them will ever be conclusively linked to you. But the countess knows patterns when she sees them. In these quiet decades, you learn the 3rd language of your existence. Not geology, not power, commerce. The language that replaces names with numbers, that turns history into an auction lot, that makes the sacred transactional. You are worth more money than most nations' annual revenue, and that worth, that pure, abstract numerical worth, is its own kind of prison. The Museum, A Cage Made of Glass and Reverence, 1921. London. The British Museum acquires you through a private sale, the terms of which are sealed for 75 years. You are cleaned, photographed, catalogued as Acquisition Number 1921-447, and placed in a climate-controlled case in the Gem and Mineral Gallery. For decades, you exist behind glass. Children press their noses against your case. Academics write papers about your crystalline structure. A guard named Harold spends 22 years walking past you every morning at 8:47 a.m., so reliably that you begin to mark time by the rhythm of his footsteps. Harold retires in 1963. His replacement is younger, distracted, checks his watch too often. You are studied, displayed, marveled at. Millions of eyes have looked at you and seen beauty, history, money, power, mystery. None of them have seen what you actually are, a witness, a patient, silent, permanent witness to every dark thing human hands are capable of. And then, one Tuesday evening in October, the lights go out. The last hands. The night everything changes. The alarm is cut at 11:17 p.m. You know this not because you can read a clock, but because Harold's young replacement had a habit of setting his phone alarm for 11:20, his coffee break. And tonight, the alarm goes off into silence. There are 4 of them. You can tell by the weight of their footsteps. 3 light, 1 heavy, the heavy one hanging back near the exit. They move with the particular silence of people who have rehearsed this exact sequence hundreds of times in a warehouse somewhere outside the city. They don't speak. They don't need to. The glass case takes 11 seconds to open. You feel gloved hands close around you. Firm, practiced, impersonal. No trembling, no hesitation. The thief who holds you has done this before. For a single suspended moment, you are in the air, unanchored from every palace, every vault, every pair of royal hands that has claimed you. You belong to no one. You belong to nothing. 3 billion years of geological time, and you float, for 1 heartbeat, completely free. Then the gloved fingers close. The bag zips shut, and you are running. The reckoning. What the darkness always knew, they make it 4 blocks. The police were waiting, had been waiting for 6 months, following a trail of insurance queries and gallery consultations that the thieves thought were invisible. The heavy one near the exit was an undercover officer. The whole thing was a sting, laid with the patience of people who understand that greed always returns to what it cannot have. You are recovered from the bag of a 34-year-old man named Marcus Webb, who had a daughter in primary school and a gambling debt that had spiraled past all reason. He sits in the back of a police car, and he looks at you one last time through the clear evidence bag. Really looks at you, the way only people who have just lost everything can look at something. And you watch his face pass through every human emotion in the space of about 4 seconds. He doesn't look greedy. He looks tired. You are returned to the museum, recatalogued, placed back in your case. The glass is replaced with a thicker pane. The alarm system is upgraded. Harold's replacement is quietly let go, and you go back to waiting, behind glass, under lights, while the world walks past and sees only the beauty and never the journey that made it. Closing reflection. Here is what 3 billion years teaches you, if you are patient enough to listen. Every hand that has ever held you believed it was the last hand. Every vault that stored you believed it was permanent. Every empire that displayed you believed it was eternal. None of them were right. You are not a symbol of wealth. You are a symbol of wanting, the raw, bottomless human hunger for something that cannot be consumed, cannot be destroyed, cannot be held forever. You are the proof that beauty and violence are not opposites. They are the same stone, cut from the same darkness, by the same desperate hands. Marcus Webb is released from prison in 4 years. He never looks at a jeweler's window again. The miner who first found you in the Kimberlite died nameless. Louis XIV's Versailles is now a tourist attraction. Napoleon's exile was a small island. Harold the Guard's 22 years of faithful footsteps are remembered by no one. And you remain, behind glass, under light, perfect, cold, patient, waiting for the next pair of hands that thinks it finally found a way to hold you forever.